4,000. Other questions before we go further? Okay. So, how many of you buy fruits and vegetables for the family? I shouldn't raise my hand, should I, Jana? Have you ever noticed those stickers that come on the fruit? Have you ever noticed the numbers on them? Those are
I noticed the numbers, but I didn't.
Those are PLU numbers, price lookup, PLU. So what they do is that number identifies what kind of fruit that is. If you buy a conventionally grown fruit, it has 4 numbers, and this is just an example. And I've got a picture here. This is a cantaloupe. Can you see the 4 digits? That's identifying that as a cantaloupe. Now, if it's organically grown, it's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be prefaced by a 9. So it may still be the same number, 1022, if it's a cantaloupe, but the 9 in front of it tells us that it's organic. So in this case, I should have shown an organic cantaloupe, but this is some other fruit that I can't identify. But you can see the 9 there, and that's why I got it. You see the difference? So it's 5 numbers prefaced by that number 9 right there. Now there's also a lot of genetically modified foods, and I mean a lot. And we'll talk about that here shortly. Those are prefaced by the number 8, not a 9, so it's close. But an 8 indicates a genetically modified food. Now before I go further, remember there are lots of different kinds of hybrids, fruits, and vegetables. For example, anybody know a hybrid fruit? Apples. A lot of apples are hybrid. The Red Delicious has been modified so many times. Have you ever noticed they almost all look identical? It's because it's been genetically modified to look the same way. Horrible taste, but they look beautiful. Genetic modification is just they're splicing genes and they're adding bits and pieces from other things. It's like having a DAT, which is a combination of a dog and cat. Come on, folks, that was good. But they're also genetically modified to have a sweeter taste, so they have more sugar. So here is a genetically modified apple. We call them frankenfoods. Hey, look, my genetically modified fruit bit me back. So frankenfoods, literally, they're combining food or fruits or vegetables, whatever it may be, that aren't naturally occurring. This is something that everybody needs to know. These are foods that are safe to consume when they're conventionally grown. What is a conventionally grown number prefaced by in that PLU? Remember? This is a quiz.
It doesn't have anything.
Good job. It's just 4 digits, right? These are safe. These you don't have to buy organically. Many of you have been to the organic class already. And again, you have this information, but these are foods that are great. Email me and we'll make sure we get you that link or the PowerPoint so you know which ones to save money on. On the flip side, these are foods you should never eat without purchasing them as organic. And I'll go through this list. Apples, nectarines, pears, spinach, celery, potatoes, raspberries, cherries, peaches, strawberries, bell peppers, lettuce, imported grapes, imported. California, okay. Hot peppers. So buy those organic. Now, going back to GM foods, genetically modified. The 2 primary candidates for genetic modification are soy and corn. And it is in every food you look for. Corn derivatives, these are just some, not even all of them. I'll just hit a couple. Corn flour has been genetically modified. Cornmeal, malt, fructose, monosodium glutamate. Does anybody know what monosodium glutamate is? Okay. Fructose corn syrup, monoglycerides, you get the idea. Again, don't worry about memorizing these. That's less important as much as you start practicing the habits of looking at labels, which again, we'll practice more later. Soy derivatives. You guys know where I stand on soy. Soy is one of the worst foods you can consume. Most misos are genetically modified. Soy sauces, soy beverages, soy protein isolate, soy lecithin, non-stick spray. So is it Pam or Spam? I can never get those 2 right. Pam. Yeah, so those foods or those sprays are just as bad. Salad dressings and mayo.
What, can I ask why soy is so bad for you?
I will be happy to answer that at the end. Well, unless everybody wants to hear it again. Well, that's what normally I didn't mean to make you feel bad. It's just kind of a long and drawn out explanation, but I'll explain it afterwards. So these are some other food items that contain genetically modified components. Infant formula, by the way, one of the worst things you could ever feed your child. Chips, alcohol, hamburgers that you buy at fast food restaurants, peanut butter, veggie burgers, protein powders, baking powder. The list goes on and on and on. This is just a small list. Shampoo, yeah. So what do we do about this? You guys are seeing lists and lists and lists of foods you shouldn't consume. What do you do about it? Here's your answer. If you can, buy locally. So farmers markets. In Iowa, a little bit difficult to do during the winter. So there are things like Azure Standard, which is a co-op. You can buy food from them that's fresh, organic. It's just delivered once a month. Sometimes a little bit more inconvenient because it's once a month, so you're buying in bulk. But it's a better option than not eating fruits and vegetables or eating the kind that are bad for you. If you do buy them from the grocery store, and that's fine, but make sure that they're fresh and firm. If they're not firm, they're not fresh. And you don't want an expired fruit or vegetable. Get lots and lots of questions about frozen fruits and vegetables. Are they as good as fresh? No. I mean, there's no question. They're far inferior. Because when you freeze them, it damages the cells, and therefore you lose some of the nutrients. But pre-frozen is okay. You haven't lost as much. Pre-frozen, you're wondering what is pre-frozen? You'll see it's on the package. It's labeled pre-frozen. Again, you just have to start reading the labels. Canned fruits and vegetables they're not good at all. They've been processed and peeled and cut, and they have tons of herbicides and pesticides and ides of all sorts because they're producing the cheapest goods possible so they can make money. And then of course they add syrup to it, which is nothing but high fructose corn syrup for the most part. So stay away from canned fruits and veggies. Next, we tired yet? Good, we're just getting started. Meat, poultry, fish, etc. Knowing how to read the label of these is very, very important. With food, you'll notice, or meat, you'll notice that there are things like all natural. All natural has to be good, right? No. All natural, if you read this, it says that it's for anything that doesn't have any derivatives or artificial flavorings, or basically it's a marketing term. They're able to sell more by using the word all natural. Farm raised means that there are large herds or communities of meat, whatever it may be, cows, hogs, birds. And in that kind of environment, you have to give them a lot of hormones, a lot of antibiotics to prevent them from getting ill and diseased. Most of these farm raised are raised in such a way. And then wild, it is what it sounds like. These are fish. It's only fish that are caught in the wild. So again, how do you eat these kinds of foods? If you're not going to buy grass-fed organic food, beef in particular, then you've got to buy the leanest cuts. Remember, toxins attach themselves to fat cells. So the fattier the meat, the more toxins you're consuming. So flank steak and round steak are great lean cuts of meat. Poultry. Some of you saw the video that we played last month. A typical conventionally grown chicken has less than 0.6 of a cubic foot to live in. And it lives for a couple of months. They give it antibiotics and hormones to grow it quickly. And it grows so quickly that its body can't support its own weight, and bones break and it can't walk. So you don't want to eat conventionally grown chicken, at least the skin. If you're going to buy conventionally grown chicken, don't eat the skin. Again, you would want to buy cage-free, free-range, or organic chicken if possible. The other thing about chicken, and if you look closely, it doesn't have to be labeled, but if it says all natural, those chicken breasts, 1/3 of those is water or carrageenan. Companies can pump them with fluid and get 1/3 more out of that cost just by adding water, and it's just labeled as all natural or 100% natural. Seafood, pretty simple, wild caught only. Now the big